Look, guys, who's out there? Hi, Captain. Thanks, Tom. How are you guys doing today? Where are you guys all from? Virginia, from Ron Jacobs, King Hill, Idaho, and southeastern Massachusetts. That's pretty cool. Got people from all over. That's awesome. I'm gonna just ride through a bunch of pairs today. They're, well, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles from here. I'll load Luke in the stock racks, and we'll go do that. I'm gonna give it a minute or two and just chat with you folks while some more people get in the live stream here. We got about 14 people right now. We'll see. We'll give it another minute and see if the number goes up or two. But as always, guys, go ahead and just ask questions. You know, that's what makes it worth it. Hi, Tulip Ranch. Glad to see you guys here. Ask questions. It makes it way easier on me, because if not, then I'm just riding around talking to myself. Is this true? I don't know what's true. So we got the rest of the herd there. They've all had their breakfast and whatnot and all that good stuff. It's closing in on probably 11 o'clock here. I don't know. So, but Luke's good. He's always there. He's always ready to do something. So he is getting older. He's starting to show his age, but I think we all are. So I know I am. I got the roan coming in my beard. Lots of my friends that haven't seen me for a year or two, they make sure and point that out to me, like I don't notice it, but I get it. Anyways, we're hovering right around the same number of people, so we're gonna get loaded up and get going. Captain, we go, usually somebody will just drive through them in a pickup every day, and I'll ride through them a horseback maybe twice a week. More so here lately that the weather's been kind of, it's trying to turn cold, but it's not really doing it. So our nights are right around the mid 30s, and the days are pretty nice, 65, 70. And of course that temperature swings hard on them and causes some pneumonia. So we're just gonna go look for pneumonia. Is a 3-legged dog able to do the job well? Yes. It didn't slow her down much at all. Once she got healed up, she went right back to where she was. It maybe made her think a little bit more before she does something, but once she gets to doing something, no, it didn't slow her down at all. Taylor, I'm working out of Fallon, Nevada right now. Bye. Baker. I'm on the other side of Fallon from the Frey Ranch. I have rode over there, well, at one of the Frey's ranches, not the distiller's ranch. So the camera might get kind of shaky here for a minute. I'm gonna adjust this tripod so I can keep you guys alive in the truck. Looking for pneumonia, I can tell you your cattle have it. Easiest signs are labored breathing. They'll act like they're having to work harder to breathe than they would normally. Another sign is they'll act kind of lethargic. Their heads will hang, their ears will be kind of droopy. Let's see. They'll be acting kind of just lethargic's really the best way to put it. Let's see, get you guys standing good there. I rescued a horse from the feet. Oh yeah. There's a couple feedlots here in town. All right. Hopefully you guys don't fall over. Yeah, Tom, these are still pairs. They've been preconditioned about 10 or 12 days ago, so they're getting close to getting weaned and getting their second round of shots. For those of you that don't know, preconditioned just means a round of vaccinations prior to weaning, which helps prevent them from getting pneumonia or other things like that once they get weaned. Hey, you stay. They're also being fed right now some grass hay, and they got some protein tubs. So this thing isn't gonna cooperate here. Still on the driveway, trying to get this ironed out. There we go. So they should be pretty healthy. I don't anticipate having to do much. And if I do have to rope one and doctor, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the phone at that point. We'll figure that out when we get there. Let's see, we says here in Alamosa now doing reined cow horse work. All right, that sounds like more fun than just riding through some cattle. Is it still hot down there in Alamosa? 25-degree mornings. That's kind of chilly for sure. Where, I guess I thought you meant Alamosa, Nevada, but where's Alamosa at? Which Alamosa are you in then? Oh, Colorado. Yeah, I believe it gets cold there. That makes sense. You guys got any shows coming up? only ever been through Colorado once back when I was in high school, so I'm not too familiar with it. We were at the high school finals rodeo down in Farmington, and we went up to some like Indian cave dwelling deals, visited for the day. It was pretty neat, but I don't really remember. I know it was southern Colorado, of course, but past that I don't remember. Oh, that Fort Worth just happened. That's pretty cool. That's one of the biggest futurities, isn't it? I make traffic mad around here because I got to go on the highway for about a mile. And when I got a horse in the back of this pickup, I only do about 35 or 40. They get kind of upset, but if they're in that big a hurry, they should have left earlier. Gorgeous here, yeah. The fall colors are coming in. The cottonwoods are all turning yellow right now. We're actually getting a fall this year. It seems like some years they just go from green to brown in a few days, but not this year. It's actually being kind of nice. We had just a little bit of rain this morning. I wouldn't say, but maybe it was a tenth. Just enough to make the windshield dirty. I'll be right back, folks. I gotta step out and open a gate. Oh yeah, 400 heads enough to keep you busy parts of the year. What kind of treatments or medicines will you bring with you if you have to, doctor? Captain, I've got Resflor right now. This ranch's herd is in contract with Harris Feedlots, so we are really, really selective of what we doctor. And we have to write down how we treated, what we treated with, the amount, the date, the specific animal. Have to record it all, which is a good thing. And they pick and choose what medicines we can use. So Resflor is what the boss asked me to carry, so that's what I'll carry. Tom Fox's work the ranch had a stock rack on a dually truck. Every place I went to had a dirt pile to back up to and all. Yeah, Luke and Rush, my half draft, they both load up pretty easy. I do have a not a dirt pile, but a spot in a little hill by the house carved out where I can back up to. Luke's getting older now, and his knees are getting a little bit tender, so I try and back up the stuff to jump him out, but he'll jump right in. You don't see a ton of stock racks around, but I got like these pastures, they're close enough a guy could trot to them and not kill too much time, and it'd probably be good for my horses, honestly. But I don't like dealing with the highway and the traffic, so I just drive pasture to pasture. And I got sick of dragging my gooseneck around, my 24-foot gooseneck, to go 3 or 4 miles just to turn around. You know, it was killing tires. So I built this set of stock racks on my old truck because the old truck needed a job too, and it does just fine for it. I have a video, probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 months ago, when I finished these stock racks. I have a video of teaching Luke to jump into them. I laid a tractor tire down and filled it with dirt and used it as a step or whatever you'd want to call it. And he figured it out pretty quick. Rush, on the other hand, being half Clydesdale, he's big enough. He just climbed. I asked him one time just to see what he'd do, and he just climbed into it like it was the regular horse trailer. So I didn't have to teach him very much about it. Got a little hill here. You can see it's not as far of a jump for Luke right there. Get this thing set back up for you guys. These cattle are pretty gentle on this outfit. They're probably gonna come surround me. They might be thinking they're getting fed. Okay, yeah, Tom, you've been around a minute then, if you remember that video. So. We'll get probably 99% of these cattle checked right here next to the pickup. If we don't see any problems here, or if we do after we've dealt with them, I'll ride out through the back corners of this pasture where you can't get to with a pickup and make sure nothing's hiding in the brush. Sick. I started welding on those stock racks the summer before my daughter was born. And when she got born, of course, I got busier and stuff, and they went halfway finished for almost a year, or maybe even just a touch over. And she finally got big enough where I could kind of, you know, put her in the stroller or whatever and then work on them a while, and I got them finished finally. Had a buddy of mine help. Not sure if he's watching her right now, but if you are, thanks. One thing I don't ever do is I don't ever walk around in my riding boots. I don't buy Justins or Ariats or things like that that are just Western style tennis shoes. I buy actual boots that are worth riding in, so they're not comfortable at all to walk around in. Turn you guys around here just a second. Almost the whole herd's come over to see us. Makes it pretty easy to ride through them this way. What are you doing there, fatties? Captain, this is a pair of honcho boots. Which, speaking of boots, I'm working on a collaboration right now with Little Joe's Boots out of the stockyards in Oklahoma City, which is pretty cool. It's a work in progress right now, so it's not official yet, but they reached out to me and we've been putting it together, and they seem like really good people. And next pair of boots I have to buy, I'll dang sure be calling them for a pair. All right. 70-foot bug trail rack. Man, that's awesome. That'd be, you could fit a C70 bobtail. So you could fit, what, 6 or 8 horses in that then probably, huh? I'm going to assume that everybody that wandered up here to say hi is feeling pretty good. For the record, I'm carrying a gold mine today. Those of you guys that know that I sell ropes, you can get that one on my website. It's a poly, it's got 3 lead cores, really heavy. I like a heavier rope. That's why I like to linseed oil my cottons. But just carrying the poly today. Like I said, with that little bit of rain this morning, so. Or you, I better move that or they're gonna destroy that. Hey, what do you guys think you're doing? It's a hell of a thing being a YouTuber and a cowboy, because every now and then you forget to pick your tripod up and the calves want to eat it. Okay, don't jump in there right now, Luke. Just side pass over to it. Close these gates. I broke my last tripod, so I ordered a better one this time. And I really don't care to have it destroyed the first time I use it. Okay, sorry about that. Like I said, these are going to be pretty easy to ride through. If they felt good enough to come over and see what I'm doing, I'm going to assume they're healthy. We'll ride through them again when we get back to the pickup, but like the far side of this pasture is kind of across the canal that you can't drive a pickup to, and has a little bit of sagebrush and greasewood and stuff, and some Russian olives that you can't quite see into, so I just make a circle back there. You doing, crooked face? There's a concrete irrigation ditch that splits this place, so it's always good to ride over to it. Make sure there's no calves in it. When they get this big, they can jump out, but when they're baby calves, if they get in there, they can't. Well, hi Fiona, all the way from Scotland. That's pretty cool. What's the weather like there in Scotland today? Hit a trot mustang. It's cold. Yeah, it's cooling off here too, but it's still pretty nice. See, I know it's pretty bumpy right now, but the trees are turning gold here right now. Let's see. No calves there, no calves there. Luke is the only horse I have that can cross these concrete ditches. I only do it with him when I really need to, because it is a little bit dangerous, but I guess because he's a Mustang or what have you, but he's sure-footed enough that he can do it. For those of you that have joined in since we left, we just rode through that little bunch of cows. They pretty much came to see me, so everybody that was there feeling pretty good. I'm gonna make a circle in this little pasture and look for anybody that's sick, because a lot of times when they're sick, they'll hang off by themselves. So you don't find the sick ones sometimes by riding right where the cattle are. And that's what we're doing. Ava Equestrian, what's your horse's name? This is Luke, he's a Mustang. He's probably 24, 25 years old now. He's kind of in just a working retirement these days. I take him on real short jobs like this just to let him think he's my number one man still. He was my number one guy for a long time, and I've got some younger horses that are coming on doing really good, taking the majority of the work now. But when I know it's going to be a shorter day, I take him. Yeah, my first full-size horse was a bay. Kind of always got a soft spot for a bay with a star. He's got a full strip, I think it's called. I had my first old bay. His name was Cracker, and he was good for me. Captain says, how many years of roping experience did you have? Did it take a while to use effectively in your work? A lot, and yes. I can Kaya. Hope I'm saying that right. I started roping when I was probably in middle school. Just roping the dummy on the ground. Lived on a ranch there. We had some ranch hands that did the majority of the work, and I just rode my motorcycle around and caused problems, basically. So I didn't have to do that much. Ava, I've got 10, a couple quarter horses and a couple quarter horse Clydesdale crosses. And then once I got into high school, I started team roping and started roping horseback every chance I could. I put it down through college because I was riding bareback horses, and I went to college far enough from home I couldn't take my rope horse. I roped a little bit in college, I should say, not very much. And then once I got out of college, I didn't do anything but rope the dummy for a couple of years, probably 4 years. I went to work in town for a while and just got out of cowboying and agriculture altogether. And then I picked a rope up again and started roping horseback again in 2015 after about a 4-year break with it. And there was definitely some rust to be knocked off. I'd always played around with a rope and roped the dummy and stuff like that. Once I got to where I was cowboying full time, and like during the winter when we'd have calves in the feedlot, the ranch I worked for then had over 1,000 head of calves in a feedlot, and we roped the doctor everything. So the winter time I'd rope quite a bit and progress quite a bit, and there was roping every day. It was probably 4 or 5 months before I was really proficient. And I mean really proficient, not in terms of just throwing and catching, but could identify 6 and could rope one and doctor one without running it around. And then it was probably a couple of years of cowboying full time before I really got to the point to where I was, it sounds really cocky to say, and I don't mean it that way at all, but to where I was one of the better hands around. There's always somebody that knows something you don't, you know. I don't say that to be cocky, but kind of about 5 years in, I noticed that guys were asking me for advice. So it took a long time. It's a very, very perishable skill. I notice a difference even if I don't rope the dummy for a couple days, that if I do have to rope something, it's not quite as on point. So probably a lot longer answer than you expected, I guess. I'm gonna ride down here. There's some cattle on the other side of that fence there. I'm not gonna worry about them right now. Cattle outside usually do pretty good on their own. What are you looking at? Honda is backwards. So that when your Honda's twisted around backwards like that, it means there's a twist within the first like 18 inches of your rope. The best thing to do is take the rope apart, you know, take the rope out of the Honda, put that Honda on something that will not spin, like the gooseneck of your truck or the top of a T-post, something a little bit more stout than a T-post, but as long as it can't spin. And then if you have a horse, it's best just take that rope and line it all out, and then slide that entire rope across your saddle horn several times, and every time you let go of it, you'll see that twist coming out. If you don't have a horse available, just go to the end of the rope and pull on it with your body weight as hard as you can, and every time you do, you should see it kind of want to twist a little bit when the slack gets back to it. And then when you put it together, just make sure and put it together the right way. Should fix it. What kind of rope is it? Which is good, means everybody's healthy. There's one little batch of trees that I'm gonna go check. Oh yeah, that's just right for a beginner. For super new beginners, I like to recommend the Tracer, which is a poly nylon blend. It's just a little bit stiffer than a straight poly. But if you guys are getting a whole bunch of wind noise, I'm sorry. A little thermal or something blowing through right now. It'll quit in a minute or so. What shots do you work with, Captain? Just regular head shots and a regular heel trap, or are you learning the turnovers and the backhands and stuff like that? out here for a minute while the wind's blowing and get to this little bunch of trees. I found a real sick calf here a couple of years back, so I always try and ride through these trees. Yeah, it hasn't been too windy today, Travis. It's just that little thermal come up. Yesterday it was a little bit windy. It was just windy enough I couldn't get any welding done on the corrals we're building or anything like that. And brought in these clouds and stuff, and it spit a little bit of rain here this morning. But it's kind of been a disappointment as far as the storm goes. Not exactly sure what that means. I'm in high school working on a dairy, beef, and horse ranch right now with riding lessons, so I'm trying to learn as much about it. Gotcha. That's pretty cool, Captain. I have a couple videos talking about roping the dummy. To have a working cowboy's position, you only need to know how to throw 2 loops, and that's a regular head loop to catch something around the neck, and then a regular heel trap to catch the heels of a calf that somebody else has headed. If you can do both of those, you can hold a working cowboy's position. You don't need to know any of the fancy stuff. When you get into the fancy stuff, like you see in the ranch ropings, I got a video from when I went to the Brannaman Pro-Am a couple months ago. That stuff, it's just for fun. There's a couple fancy loops that have actual applications, but by no means does somebody need to know those. I didn't know most of them for years, actually any of them for years, and held working cowboy positions and was plenty proficient. So just a regular head loop to catch something around the neck, and then a regular heel trap to catch something's back feet when somebody else has the head roped is all you need to know. I would get proficient with those 2 before I start trying to learn any other loops. I found a real sick calf there a couple years ago, so I always check there, but I don't see nothing right now. You bet, Captain. If you're new to the channel here, that's what I try to do, is just share the knowledge and the information that I have. I learned the hard way. I self-taught myself a lot of what I know, and I figured I could just be a resource for somebody, and it makes it all worth it. So don't be scared to ask questions about anything. There's no stupid questions, just a stupid mistake of not asking a question. Have you guys been getting any rain there in Eastern Oregon, Travis? Oh, nice. Those 2-day rainstorms, they build a lot of feed. That's good going in this time of winter. It'll help everything through. Oh yeah, cool deal. Hi, gecko squids. Hi, AGM mini horsemanship. Or AG mini horsemanship, I guess it would be. Travis, if you guys ever need day work, holler at me. I'll make the drive up, film something new, meet some new people. Oh yeah, bad habits are definitely something to worry about, Captain. That's a good way to think about it. Being in high school, you can't really travel too much. I don't. It's hard when you don't have somebody around to learn from. That definitely helps. With horsemanship or roping or stockmanship, don't zone in on any one person. Like, you see some Pat Pirelli ladies that if it's not Pat Pirelli saying it, they don't want to hear it, and that's not very smart. Nothing against Pat Pirelli. He has some good points and he's got a lot of garbage points, but watch a whole bunch of different people like myself. Viking K horsemanship's pretty good. Of course, the 310 guys are awesome. Martin Black. Read the old timers books. I'm drawing a blank. Bill Van Norman. The old horsemanship books are great references. But just consume as much of it as possible. Try something new you figure out, you read or you see on YouTube or whatever, and if it works for you, keep with it, and if it doesn't work for you, try it again. If it doesn't work a second time, try something different. Like, there's so much information now, you don't just want to try and be a carbon copy of somebody, because there's nobody perfect. The only perfect man lived 2,000 years ago. They hung him on a cross, and he'll be back someday. And I haven't found a book about horsemanship that he wrote yet. But see, these cattle are a little bit more spread out now. That's good. That'll make them a little bit easier to ride through. Another one of the biggest pieces of advice that I always try to give new ropers, Captain, other than don't be discouraged, is roping is only 30% throwing your rope. It's 70% riding your horse. You can be a really, really good dummy roper and be a horrible roper horseback. So your horsemanship is more important to your roping than actually being able to throw the rope is. I'd rather have somebody good on a horse that misses a lot than somebody who catches a lot and isn't good on a horse. They'll just make a wreck. What are you fatties doing? Huh? AG Mini Horsemanship, if you're still watching, where are you from? Tom Fox, are you still watching? I know these live streams, people kind of come and go a lot. Alright, glad you're still here, Tom. Another thing I like to look for, you were asking about what I look for in these calves. I like to look and see how shiny their nose is. Like that calf right there, he just kind of got a poopy butt. Oh, you guys are fine. But if you can get him to turn his head to me here. I'm just going to ride past him and hopefully he'll turn and look at us. I like to see if he's got a little bit of milk shine on his nose. And the little black calf, we're just going to ignore him. He's a leppy. He's a milk stealer. But if they have that milk shine on their nose, it means they've eaten in the last, day or so. Where if you find one that looks off and he doesn't have that milk shine, you probably ought to do something with him because he hasn't been eaten either. Are we really eating the greasewood right now? Luke's the only horse I have that I let eat a little bit when I'm riding him. And he's done so good for me for so many years, he's earned it. Captain, if you look up on 310's website, Dalton is he's trying to put a clinic on in every state. See if there's anything there he's got scheduled that's close to you. He's an excellent person to learn the rope from, without a doubt. And his videos have a ton of resources also for you. Tom, I seem to think he retired, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. I don't talk to anybody at the Harris Ranch. I'm just a cowboy here. The bosses do all that stuff. I know, let's see, it would have been about 10 years ago he was there, but I don't know now, to be honest. Oh, that'd be pretty cool, Captain. He's a great resource. I don't see anybody here that's doggy looking. They're all gonna run that way. I'm gonna make one little circle out in this greasewood, look for calves. I don't think there is anybody, but it never hurts to look. Yeah, Captain, on any of my videos, if you got a question about, why'd you rope this way, or, maybe I didn't catch something very good the way I was handling a rope, a horseback or something, don't be scared to ask. I have no problem answering those. If you'd like something specific shown, if I know how to do it, I'll try and show it for you too. So. Nothing here. Alright, well, I'm gonna head back to the pickup. We'll jump Luke in the pickup and we'll go right through another little bunch of calves. You're welcome, Captain. see if I can cheat this a little bit. Oh yeah, Tom, I spend, I'll turn this around here. I spend as little a time in a pen on a horse as I can before taking him outside. Young horses, give them obviously very easy jobs at the start, and then give them some increasingly harder jobs after that. Let's see give them some increasingly harder jobs after that. I try not to overwhelm my young horses, but I definitely try and get them outside of their comfort zone. You know, once or twice as a 2-year-old, and then as a 3-year-old maybe 2 or 3 times, and as a 4-year-old I try and teach them everything they'll need to know, without totally blowing them apart or working them too much. But like, there's some guys that turn out really nice horses riding them 30 days inside. I did that for a while. When I was in high school, I kind of went down that route. And then once I got to doing my job a horseback, they learn to think rather than just react or respond to a certain cue. So it's a lot better way, in my opinion. But there are some guys that can do it, 30 days inside and have a horse that it's a lot easier to take outside. I take the young horses, I try to take them out into the desert their first time or two out, rather than a small pasture like this. And the reason for that is that I don't want to be near any fences or ditches or anything like that. You saw a couple weeks ago I took Hot Lips out for her first day of work, and there was some oops, I didn't do this right. There are some pretty good hills and some creeks and stuff where I rode her at, but there really wasn't anything that I was worried about. If she were to run off, she's not going to run through a barbed wire fence or through a concrete ditch or something like that. So it's just easier, in my opinion, to start them that way. It's getting windier. I'm glad I'm getting this done now. Yes, I should have put Luke's halter on rather than just leaving him in his bridle, but don't tell nobody. I won't tell nobody. So can you see? No, you just see Luke's legs. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. You really shouldn't. I forgot to tie my neck rope on when I left the house. So he should have a neck rope on, because I don't believe in leading him by the bridle reins, but everybody messes up. Not too exciting at this pasture, but that's good. Not exciting when it comes to checking for 6 is always a good thing. you doing, Jesus? I'm glad to hear you see it that way. Happy to have you here. If you're new to the channel, don't be scared to ask questions. We just rode through one bunch of pairs, checked health, everybody was good, didn't have to doctor anything. Yeah, Tom, the whole concept of taking them in the alleyway that young is once they learn to follow a calf, because she just knew how to plow rein and how to direct rein. So once she learned, I got to turn and follow that calf, well, one, it's teaching her to pay attention to a cow. And two, I can start using that outside rein just a little bit. And for lack of a better term, I can almost subliminally teach her to neck rein that way. So you got to make sure that when you do that, of course, you can go really slow, and it's some places like you go day working and you got to go real quick, can't make no mistakes, you got to be professional on top of it. You know, they're paying you and they want a lot out of you during the day. That particular day in outfit, I talked to the cow boss already, and he told me, he says, just get those sorted. He said, take your time with them. They're high risk right now because they were just weaned. So it was like the perfect deal for haul lifts, just to go slow and work those calves real slow. Hi, Ian. God bless freedom. Amen, brother. Hope you're doing good today. I'm going to jump out and get this gate. I'll be right back. I do have to say, Tom, it looks pretty punchy riding around with a bridled up Mustang in the stock rack. Okay, I'll go shut that and be right back. Let you guys see. You can see Luke's legs. Made you laugh? Yeah. I'm pretty good at being kind of dumb sometimes. So, this next bunch of cows we're gonna check is just another bunch of pairs. For whatever reason, they don't usually stand there and let me ride through them. They kind of just run off, and I gotta check and see everybody that is running off. Yeah, it's one of my favorite jobs too, Tom. I think if you got the same deal, if you got a place where you can be a little bit slower and it's not a super crucial deal if you make a mistake, you can take somebody that isn't as experienced and they can learn a lot working in the alleyway, both about reading cattle and riding their horse. About a year ago, we had a friend riding with us. His name was Nick, and he was pretty new to it all, and he learned a lot in the alleyway. He might ride with us some more later this fall. I'm not exactly sure. I hope he does. I enjoy him. And he's one of those people that just soaks it up like a sponge. But yeah, Captain. So in a set of working corrals, and Tom, you can give your input on this too. A set of corrals, you have a long, narrow part of it. I guess you could call it a corral, but it's basically an alleyway. On average, they're, I don't know, 15 foot wide, maybe, depends a little bit. And yeah, you have that alleyway. It attaches to several different pens in that corral setup, and you can run cows in or by a gate, depending upon how you're cutting and what you need. Like Tom said, they're loading trucks and sorting off dry cows. That all happens in the alley, in the corrals there. Riding in the alley or a corral or a pen or whatever you want to call it, looking for dry cows is really good for young horses and really good for new riders also. That's another deal, that being slow and patient helps a ton. And it's really cool, like if you're in a corral sorting dries, like you said, with a young horse, because that adds another dimension of movement rather than just up and down the alley. How can you tell if a cow is dry or not? You look at her bag. When she's wet or in milk, her bag will be full, like a balloon full of water. And then when she's dry, her bag will be really small, if it's even there. So basically, yep, exactly, Dave Wiley. That slick hair that kind of curls around means she's been nursed. I'm going to go to the far side of this deal here. Some cattle, depending upon how they're bred, will have a lot more of a bag. Like say if you got a herd of beef cows that has some dairy influence in it, you know, several generations ago, they'll have a big bag. It'll be really easy to tell the difference. Where, like, if you work on a Coriani outfit that's raising roping cattle, they don't hardly get bags at all. And you really have to get an eye for them there. Yeah, David, we got the Mustang bridled up today. He's part-time retirement, or a working retirement, I guess you could call it. But we just kind of riding through some nice and easy, so. The only part of this I haven't thought out, David, is what I'm going to do with the phone if I find a sick and have to rope it. So I'm not using the GoPro right now. So I don't know what I'll do. I might have to put you guys in my pocket and rope it or something. Let's see. I want to do this for him. Yeah, we'll just make him jump out right here. So I'll grab the phone. I don't like to make Luke jump out on flat ground anymore, as old as he is, but he's gonna have to do it here. Let's see, Mr. Mustang. No, you're not gonna do it. Did everybody hear me say I don't like leading them by the bridle reins? Okay, now's when you guys don't look at the screen. Luke is, hi Jesus, by the way. Luke is like 23 or 24. He's a Mustang, you can tell right there. So I don't have an exact age on him, but his mouth tells us he's in his early to mid 20s. I've had him since 2018, and he's about 10 years older than I was told he was when I got him. Yeah, Travis, exactly. Don't use my example there. I drove right by the house to get to where I'm at now. I guess I could have stopped and grabbed his get-down rope, but that doesn't make for very good continuity in the filming. Luke took one for the team on that deal. Called him Cycle for the feather on legs. Oh yeah, that's awesome, Tom. I'm sure happy with my half drafts. I've put a tape on Rush a few times. I haven't done it lately. I need to. What did you do to our beef cows? Put them back in the cycle from our calves. Anybody that runs a herd that's watching right now, go ahead and give your own answer. Captain, there's a ton of different answers for that. The easiest way to say it is it depends. Let's say cow comes off the desert, raised a nice calf, but she's dry. Say you got foothills in that area. Sorry, that's open. Oh, hold on, let me get the gate. Luke, you gotta step a little bit closer. So dry cows means there's no calf nursing on them, and it depends. If it's a young cow, you might give her another chance to have a calf. If it's an old cow, broken mouth cow, you might send her down the road to the sale barn. That way you can get some money out of her rather than just her, you know. Let's say just worst case example, you give her another shot, you feed her for a whole nother year, run her, you know your cost, and she comes home open, not bred. Well, you fed a cow for no return for that year. I've worked for ranches, like in country where there's foothills abortion, that they would send heifers out to calve on the desert, and you'd come home with quite a few dries, and they would, if it was the particular animal's first time being dry, they would keep her back and give her a second chance, because like I said, that area had foothills abortion, which is caused by a tick. That tick bites them in the first trimester, and they slough the calf in the third trimester. Well, these heifers were calving on the desert, not being rode through. They were kind of expected just to figure it out, and so you didn't know if she had the calf alive, or was a foothills abortion calf. So you gave her a second chance, because once she aborts that calf from the foothills, as long as she gets bit by that tick every year, she'll never abort another one. So like that ranch, we had to give them a free roll at least once. I worked for another ranch where if a cow was dry when she came off the desert, or if she was open come preg checking time, she went down the road, no exceptions. Tom says, what was causing the abortion? It's called foothills abortion. It's a tick-borne illness caused by the Pajuelo tick. The ticks live in juniper trees. Cows will bed underneath those juniper trees. The ticks will smell the carbon dioxide that they're exhaling, will drop down from the trees and bite the cow, predominantly they bite them on the bag. Not a big deal right then when it happens. Like I said, the time of year that it all works on, like spring calvers, it's really bad. It's in the first trimester, it'll go unnoticed through the second trimester, and then in the third trimester, the disease will cause the cow to fever. I don't know if I've ever heard a cow dying from it, but that fever will cause her to abort a calf in that third trimester. They're usually born hairless when they're aborted from the foothills because of the fever. It makes all that hair fall off of the fetus. They abort that calf, and then, like I said a second ago, as long as they keep getting bit by that tick every year, they'll never abort another calf because they'll have an immunity. Okay, are you guys back? Sorry about that. If there's a year missed in that cycle, the cow has to abort another calf and build up the immunities all over again. So, not a fun deal, but it's a part of life in some parts of the desert. Northeastern Nevada, northwestern California, probably up into southeastern Oregon and southwestern Idaho, I imagine. It maybe not up into Idaho. It kind of an isolated deal, but it's something that you have to figure in as a producer here. Okay, my stream just buffered for a couple seconds. Are you guys still there? It says you're still there on my end, but I don't trust it. Okay, good deal, good deal. Did you hear the whole speech about foothills, or did you miss part of it when my stream buffered? Okay. There is a vaccine available for foothills. I believe it's available to the public through your veterinarian. Don't quote me on this, talk to your veterinarian, but if I remember correctly and understand it right, the veterinarian has to administer the vaccine. You know, it's not like an 8-way where you can just get it and then give it to your cows. The veterinarian has to do it, kind of like bangs and heifers. It's really expensive, I think. It was like 2018, I was working for a ranch that we did a couple hundred heifers with the vaccine, and it might have even been in its trial stage then, and it was like $8 a head. It was pretty pricey. I don't know the efficacy of it now or the cost of it now, but there's that you can do with them. These girls are all going to go wad up in this corner again. Told you this bunch is a little bit different. But one of the best ways to combat foothills abortion is to have fall calvers, because your fall calvers, they're not in that first trimester of pregnancy when the ticks are most active. So you might have it still just a little bit of problems with it, but it's cut way down. The absolute best way is to be a fall calver where your cows run in that same country every year. But of course, you can't always have fall calves, you know, every outfit's different. So you're lucky you're old, you know that. You would get in trouble for that. Big old fat calves in this bunch. They're on pretty good feed right here. This is not a pasture we usually graze until late fall. However, we used it pretty hard this spring. We got 2 cuttings of really nice grass alfalfa hay off of it, and then decided instead of going for a third crop off it this year, we'd turn these cows in on it and let them graze it. And they're doing really good on it, and there's still a ton of feed out here. You think, girls? Oh, we're all gonna be goofy now, aren't we? This bunch of cows isn't quite as gentle as that last bunch. There's some characters in this bunch, shall we say. Half of this bunch, these were two different bunches all summer, and half of them were where they were because they're known to be ditch crossers, like concrete ditch crossers, or they like to go through fences if there's a green blade of grass on that side, something like that. So these cows are got a little bit bigger flight zone. David, shoot me, if you're serious about that, shoot me an email. If I can film and make some day wages, I might just jump in the Volkswagen and show up at your branding. My email is rubucknevada@gmail.com. If you're serious, or even if you're not and you just want to chat or whatever, shoot me an email. I'd love to go to a branding in Nebraska. That's pretty cool. Dalton Darnell's doing a deal where he's trying to teach a roping clinic in every state. Maybe I'll start a deal where I'm trying to brand calves in every state. Actually, David, you just gave me a pretty good idea right there. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Captain says, for that pasture, do you wait to have cows in it in the late fall because the grass is too rich so you can turn it, or so you can turn it into hay or alfalfa? Captain, both, actually. So this pasture, let me find a spot that makes a good example of this. So this is a grass alfalfa mix pasture. Let me step off of Luke here. Go. So like right here, you have your, what are you doing? You have your alfalfa plant, right? If it was a straight alfalfa field, you would have to wait until after the first hard freeze, or else there would be so much protein and sugar in the alfalfa that the cattle would bloat. But because it's predominantly grass, there was a lot more alfalfa when we first turned these cattle out here, but they could eat that grass when they'd had enough alfalfa. So they can almost balance their diet that way. I will climb back on my horse and show you guys real quick. Oh, David, that would be a dream come true to brand calves in every state. I think I'd have to put the caveat on it though that there's no calf tables. It'd have to be a rope and branding, whether it's like a heel and drag or a southwestern style or something like that, but no calf tables. I've been around a calf table once or twice and it's just been a wreck in my experience. Anyways, I'm gonna ride over to this ditch here, show you guys the straight alfalfa field across the street. We will, once it freezes hard and tips all that alfalfa over and shuts it down, makes it dormant for the winter, then we can put cattle on it safely. So, yep, both of those thoughts are correct there, Captain. So like that hayfield over there, I don't know if I can zoom on this. Oh, I can. Oop, kinda. That's a straight alfalfa field over there. Oh, how are we gonna do this? There we go. So once, like I said, once it freezes, we'll put cattle over there. It is cheaper to have a cow graze it than it is to run it through a swather and a rake and a baler and then haul it and stack it and unstack it and feed it. What are you girls doing down there? Really? You're kind of taking advantage of this there, old man. Across the street this way, they grew corn this summer. One of the dairies did, and they left this standing instead of making silage out of it. They combined it and took the grain. Well, that last windstorm blew some of the corn trash into this field, and Luke just gobbled him up a leaf. So, like, there's a zoom in just a little here. Mess with my zoom, so you can see this calf nursing right here on a cow I really like. Actually, she's a pretty good cow. If you'll look at it here, see how shiny his nose is? That's that milk shine I was talking about. He's a big old fat thing too. Good looking calf. So I'm kind of just, as these cows drift across this pasture, I'm just watching, making sure that nobody's falling behind a bunch. There's a calf in the back over there that's kind of falling behind, but his head's up and he's just being lazy. You know, if his head was hanging low and his ears were kind of droopy, I'd go over and pay more attention to him. Not seeing much worth harassing in this pasture either. But you, do you need roped? That's exactly what that is, David. Oh, David, if I come brand with you in Nebraska, I'm going to have to figure out how to put Rush in the Volkswagen Beetle. Might have to cut the hatchback off of it. Hi, Randy. We do have, there was 4 leppies we had from calving season this year, and they're in this pasture. So if you see something that looks like a leppy, it's because it was, and I'm not worried about them being sick. I mean, if they're sick, they're sick, but just because they're kind of leppy looking doesn't mean they're sick in this bunch. Milk mustache for sure. That's another cow I like a lot right there. How you doing, Roni? So you can see he's kind of got pretty loose stool there. I know his number. He's another one of the leppies. There's a difference between actual, the term bag is referring to the cows that are correct. Yes, they're same thing. They're used interchangeably. Let me think here. So in my vocabulary, I really don't use the term udder very often. The 2 terms I'll use are bag and teat. Bag refers to the system as a whole, and teat refers to each quadrant. Jesus, I currently have 10 of them. I've got, out of those 10, they're quarter horses. This one's a Mustang, and I've got 3 quarter horse Clydesdale crosses out of one of the full quarter horses. And these are the neighbor's horses here. That's Sam. He's a Mustang. He's a good guy. And that's Quincy. She's actually mine. She's just living over here to keep Sam company. So, you guys doing? All right. I gotta go, Quincy. I gotta go to work. That mare there, she's old now in retirement. She was an awesome little horse for me for a couple years. She was so small that I didn't start her until she was like 7 or 8, and she never offered to buck or get stupid or anything. She just has a really good mind. The first time I ever roped anything off of her, it was about a 400-pound yearling Coriani cow. Actually, I think it was a heifer. Might have been a steer. I don't remember. Anyways, about 400 pounds, and I stepped off and tied it down, and she just acted like it was her 100th time doing it. Yeah, Captain, I do everything with my horses. I breed them, I train them, and I shoe them myself. And that just is a fact of necessity that I can't afford to have somebody else train or shoe my horses. Well, I enjoy training them, so I wouldn't, even if I could afford somebody else to train them. But shoeing them, I do that myself also, just because I can't afford to pay a farrier to do it. Have you had a freeze? When does it happen in that region? We scratched freezing a time or two already. Right here in Fallon, down in the valley like this, we'll be a little bit behind everywhere else. It's calling for our first night in the mid-20s to be like late into the first week in November, which is kind of late some years. I can remember as a kid trick-or-treating in 8 inches of snow. So it varies by the year. We're having an actual fall this year, which is kind of nice. Some years September you'll be in the 90s all of September, and then by the end of October you've had a real hard freeze and everything's, all the leaves are off the trees and all that. But you can see we got some green on them still this year. I don't see any reason to harass anybody here, which is good. It means everybody's healthy. So yeah, it varies year to year, but Southern Nevada, if they get a freeze in Southern Nevada, they panic. They think the world's ending. Like, you'll hear the Las Vegas Strip will get 2 inches of snow, and there's like car crashes and stuff like that. They don't get it down there, but you get up into northern Nevada, like north of Elko and north of Winnemucca, and that's snow country up there. They dang sure get it, and they get cold, and their ground will freeze real hard and stuff like that. So we can get super cold here. I was born in 1990, and the week I was born, it was like 35 or 40 below. So I remember Fallon for the frost on the tree. Yep, pogo nip, exactly. When it gets that cold is when you see the pogo nip. Pogo nip's really, really pretty for like the first day, and then by like the 4th or 5th day, you just hate it. It's because it's so gray and dreary and depressing. For those of you that don't know what pogo nip is, it is a very heavy freezing fog that puts a super heavy frost. I mean, it'll build up like an inch and a half, 2 inches on everything. Barbed wire, your car antenna, trees, horses' manes. I mean, just any little surface it can cling to, it does. And it makes like really, really pretty pictures, especially if you can take that picture of the pogo nip itself right as the sun comes out. But it's miserable to live in because it's overcast and it's super, super cold. And the term pogo nip is an Indian word, I believe, from the Paiutes, and it translates to white death. Because it's so cold and the ice crystals in the air are so cold, they will actually damage livestock's lungs. Like if you ride a horse real hard in it, you can burn their lungs essentially, and it'll kill them. The Indians named it White Death. Yeah. Yeah, January and February is usually when we get the pogo nip. 4 years removed from high school when you were born. Oh, man. You went through high school when it was, when you actually had to study and you couldn't just use the internet for stuff. I had it easy compared to you. Dang sure had it easy. I actually I went to high school online because the high school in the town that I lived in wanted to hold my credits because I missed too many days because of the ranch and high school rodeo. I had passing grades, but they wanted to hold my credits strictly off the number of days missed. So I went and went to high school my junior and senior years online, and that was a way better setup. So we got some calves in the feedlot. I don't need to ride through those, but anyways, folks, that's it for me today. I'm gonna go have lunch with my wife and little girl. I'll give a couple minutes here while I load Luke up and stuff for any final questions you guys may have. I really enjoyed this stream today. I love it when the chat's going off asking questions. David, I carry a pad and pencil too. It's been a hell of a learning curve learning this YouTube thing. I was going to do this stream from my GoPro through my phone, but I couldn't figure out how to make them talk to each other the right way, so I'm just using my phone. I'm not the tech savviest either. Hey, get in the truck, you can go home. But like I was saying, guys, got a minute or two here. Ask any questions. Stay safe. Thanks, David. It was good talking to you. Shoot me an email. I'll come harass some calves in Nebraska for you. Do you think no, Travis with an awesome question. I am going to have a spade custom made for the half drafts because they do need to be bigger. I plan on having a John Mincer spade made by John Mincer. I said that wrong. A spade bit made by John Mincer. He's a silversmith here in Fallon, a friend of mine. But yes, I absolutely do need a bigger bridle. And when Rush is probably a 6-year-old, once he's almost as filled out as he's going to get, I plan on having a custom saddle fitted for him also. The headstall, yeah, it's got to be bigger too. Rush has got a big old jug on him. It looks really proportionate for his body, but it's a big old head. So, yeah, like I said, I plan on having a saddle custom fit to him too, because the bars on a saddle that fit like the Mustang and the quarter horses, they're not going to fit the half drafts right. If you've noticed, I've already started riding Rush in a double rig saddle with a breast collar on it when I ride everything else in a single rig, and that's strictly because that single rig doesn't fit Rush. It runs back on him so bad that, I mean, it just kills his back. So, Jesus, you're welcome. I'm glad you like the videos. I like having you guys riding along with me. So, anyways, guys, don't be scared. I'm gonna have a video dropping tonight that should have dropped on Friday. It's my second day over in coastal California. We did some sorting in some pens and stuff like that. I was pretty crippled up. My back was really bothering me at the time, so I didn't ride much after I shut the camera off. They didn't get their money's worth out of me that day. Fortunately, Cole's a friend of mine now, so he just took it out of my pay. He didn't take it personally. I'm just kidding. He didn't dock me any pay. But yep, that video will be dropping tonight, and then Tuesday Not sure what I'm going to do for Tuesday yet. But anyways, guys, we'll see you around, and thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support on my channel. If you need ropes or some real nice spur straps, check out RubuckNevada.com. I'm trying to get some more stuff on there. I've got some people talking to me about some collaborations with different gear. I won't sell anything I don't use personally. Anyways, appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next one.